Welcome everyone to Monday Morning Morons for February 3rd, 2020. This week, let's begin with the one thing the woke crowd is happy to tell you is whites only. Minnesota College helps white students only deal with the nasty little racist inside them. Yep, racism. It's still whites only. Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota, held an event on Martin Luther King Jr. Day designed exclusively for white students. The event, titled How to Embrace Your Inner Racist, a session for white people, was designed to help attendees recognize and acknowledge that there is a nasty little racist inside them, according to a description found on the college's website. The session also aimed to help students learn how the skills of psychological flexibility can help white people recognize and acknowledge their own racist tendencies. Yeah. All and only white people have a nasty little racist inside them. That's not racist at all. This session is for white people only, the event description said, adding that while we won't stop people of color from attending, they should know that their presence in the room is likely to interfere with the effectiveness of the session. Yeah, look. Black people, we love you, and we worship you, and we crawl at your feet, of course, because we're all nasty little racists who need to be flogged for the sins of some nameless people who did some things we don't like centuries ago. But, please, stay away this time, huh? We wouldn't want you to hear the complete pile of bullshit we're feeding white people. The session employed acceptance and commitment training, or ACT, according to the college. The ACT method is also known as acceptance and commitment therapy and seeks to employ psychotherapy and cognitive behavioral therapy in order to inspire behavioral change, according to Psychology Today. Yeah, here's the thing. When you begin by telling everyone in the room that they must accept a false premise before anything even begins, it's not called therapy. It's called brainwashing. Come in, sit down, admit you're a racist, and beg forgiveness for your sins. No thanks. For starters, I'm not a racist, so, fuck off. And secondly, I'm not particularly fond of churches. I do find it a little bit funny, though, that your religion can't seem to keep its own rules straight. I mean, here you are saying black people can't be here while we lecture white folks about racism, and yet white people are not allowed to decide what is or is not racist. Professor who said white people take up space now says whites can't decide what's racist. So, how exactly does that work? A University of Wisconsin-Madison professor said that white people do not get to decide what is racist. Sammy Schalk, assistant professor of gender and women's studies, tweeted on January 16th, "This is your semi-annual reminder that white people do not get to determine what is or is not racist. If a person of color calls you racist, it's probably because you did something racist, whether you can recognize it or not. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming." Yeah, this is your semi-annual, weekly reminder that I refuse to let racists decide what is or is not racist, so you can fuck right off with that bullshit. This tweet was in response to an earlier Twitter exchange in which Schalk retweeted a tweet that said, "Man, white people be some bike riding, running, walking ass motherfuckers. The fuck is y'all going?" Schalk captioned the retweet saying, "Out of the sun. You know they get destroyed by the thing that keeps everything else on the planet alive. Don't do it. Don't do it." Okay, I can't resist. Where are we going? To work. You should try it. Oh, come on, Bob. I had to. It was right there. Besides, I'm pretty sure that's not even close to the most offensive thing I've ever said. Another user tweeted in response, "This is beneath you," and followed up with the explanation that they were working with disabled people who would love to be able to do these things. He added, "I think you should be more careful. Sorry." Schalk then retweeted the Twitter exchange with the aforementioned caption. Dr. Schalk, has also written race-related articles, including a series called Dear Queer White People, in which she answers submitted questions concerning white people. The latest installment of the series, published in July 2019, entitled Dear Queer White People, Taking Up Space, addressed 2 questions: how white queer people take up space at queer events, and whether white queers should be present in queer POC spaces. Yeah, and here you queer people thought these were your allies. Nope, not if you're white. No matter what other special group you belong to, if you're white, you're the problem. And oh yeah, do try to remember that these are not the racists, huh? I know it gets confusing because they sound exactly like a bunch of racist shit stains, but nope, not them. They said so. When offering advice in her article, Schalk writes to white queer people that when going to queer spaces, they should find out from the organizers what kind of space it is. She acknowledges that although one's friends or spouse might have invited a queer white person, that doesn't mean the organizers or other people in the space want white people there. She adds that white queer people should not take it personally if queer POC don't want to talk or dance with you. Can you even imagine how fast the R word would be flung around if I said, before you go to a gathering or party somewhere, do please check with the organizers to make sure they even want black people there. And don't take it personally if white people don't want to talk to or dance with you. They'd be flinging that racist word at me before I even finished saying it. And they'd be right, too, because that would be racist. Here's the thing, folks. If you can flip white for black in a sentence and it sounds racist as fuck, that's because it is racist as fuck before you did the swapping. You know what else is racist these days? Student op-ed. Business professionalism is racist. Yep. Professionalism. It is far easier for white men to get to work on time than black people, who are having to change their hair to fit the workplace's professionalism standards. Really? That's where you're going to try to anchor this insanity? Black people's hair takes longer in the morning? I mean, women have been arguing this for years now, and frankly, no one gives a shit because your hairstyle is your choice. If you have a style that takes extra time to prepare in the morning, that's your fucking fault. Deal with it. Or, get a haircut that's less time-consuming is always an option. A senior from Tulane University recently took to the pages of his student paper to proclaim that dressing and acting professional is racist and rooted in white supremacy. Shahamat Udin writes in the Hullabaloo, I catch a reflection of myself in the window across the room, and at first, I don't recognize myself. I see a shell of who I am. An individual transformed to fit the historically white standards of business professionalism. Good grief. Poor Shahamat, being expected to wear clothes and comb his hair before people take him seriously. Woe the horror and abuse inflicted upon you. He points out that he's removed all his piercing and has practiced English words in which he struggles daily. Based on his Hullabaloo profile page, it doesn't appear that he has many piercings, however. Well, of course not. He was forced to remove them by the damn white people standards police running around enforcing dress codes, you dummy. Udin asks, what exactly are we doing when we ask students to be professional? Answer, telling blacks to refrain from using black English and non-whites not wear anything cultural, and asking applicants to speak on work experiences that were challenging instead of the ones where we had racist bosses. Okay, first of all, there is no black English. There is English, and there's slang. In the business world, they don't generally accept slang as professional, whether it's from so-called ghetto or redneck bumpkins from down by the holler. That's not a race thing, it's a language thing. People need to be able to understand you in order to do business with you. I won't comment on the second one because I've never personally heard anyone tell anyone else not to wear cultural clothing. So I have no idea if that happens or not. What I have heard is business casual, unless you've got a client meeting today. Casual Friday, but please remember to dress appropriately if you've got outside meetings planned. Shit like that. The point being, when you're out there representing the company, do please dress like it. You're not at a backyard barbecue kicking it with the homies. The practice of professionalism, he says, is shaped to advance the careers of white, straight, married men. And single women, married women, single men, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You know what? Fuck it. Everyone. Professionalism is shaped to advance business. Period. Non-English speakers are expected to come to the workplace and shape their identities for the comfort of other people. Have you by chance tried visiting, Japan? Because, they don't do that there. I mean, it seems that your primary problem here isn't professionalism, but American culture. You're honked off because American culture exists inside American workplaces inside America. Oh, gosh, I just can't think of any reason that might be. Look, apparently you've never heard this before, so I apologize if it shocks you, but sooner or later someone's got to tell you this, so it might as well be me. You are not the center of the world. I know, it's a huge blow to your super inflated ego, but it's true. An entire country with hundreds of millions of people is not going to magically change everything they do, say, and think just to suit you. That doesn't make everyone else racist. It makes them normal and you a self-centered, entitled asshole. Grow up. Toxic time, Bob. From Gopher's World, of course, because I know you didn't do any work this week. Save it. I don't believe you any more than I believe the rest of these fucking liars. Massachusetts professor accused of trying to kill faculty colleague in Christmas Eve attack. Oh boy. Let me guess. Another story about a guy who wanted her attention, didn't get it, and his fragile little male ego couldn't take the rejection, so out comes the toxic behavior we're all so familiar with, right? No? Huh. Well, I just can't imagine anything else happening, so I don't know what it could have possibly been. A professor at a prestigious Massachusetts college has been charged with trying to kill a female faculty colleague who suffered severe injuries after being attacked with a rock, garden shears, and a fireplace poker, prosecutors said. Hachiyanagi? I guess? An art professor at Mount Holyoke. What fucking... Did we skip into a foreign country? What language are we speaking here? Whatever, was charged Friday with armed assault to murder, according to reports. Oh shit, it was a woman who attacked this woman. Well, that certainly makes things a bit tougher. Let's keep reading though, and hope there's a man somewhere around here we can pin this shit on. The victim, a 60-year-old woman, went to the hospital with broken bones to her face and other injuries. Reports, citing a police report, suggest, may have attacked her colleague over unrequited love. During the winter recess, there was a serious incident involving two Mount Holyoke faculty members. Mount Holyoke spokesman Christian Does everybody have a foreign name these days? What happened to, Bob Smith? According to MassLive.com, the incident occurred off campus and resulted in the hospitalization of one faculty member who is receiving care. Feuerstein said Hachi, I'm just going to call it Hachi from now on so I don't keep fucking it up, had been placed on administrative leave and was barred from setting foot on campus. Police said they responded to the victim's home in Leverett shortly before 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve and were met by Hachi, who told them she called 911 after finding her friend lying on the floor of the residence, barely breathing, semi-conscious, and with a head injury, Fox 6 Springfield and other local media reported. She said her friend had been attacked by an unknown assailant, the station reported. The Daily Hampshire Gazette reported Saturday that, according to the police report, the victim told officers at the hospital that the person who attacked her was Hachi, who was not a stranger. The report said the woman thought she was going to die at Hachi's hands. According to the paper, the police report also stated that the woman said Hachi began attacking her after showing up uninvited on December 23rd and saying that she wanted to talk about her feelings. The police report also quoted the victim as telling officers that when she asked Hachi why she was attacking her, Hachi responded that she loved her for many years and she should have known, according to the paper. The victim then played along, lying that she had reciprocating feelings to convince Hachi to stop beating her and call 911, the paper reported. The police report said that in an interview with police, Hachi said she didn't remember anything after 6 p.m. Thursday, that multiple concussions in the past had affected her memory. I'm sure. Okay, so our hands are tied here. I mean, this sounds exactly like toxic masculinity, but it's a woman. So the only conclusion we can go to is internalized toxic masculinity. I know it sounds like a stretch, Bob, but seriously, it simply has to be internalized toxic masculinity. Because if it wasn't, we might have to admit that femininity can be, and frequently is, just as bad as masculinity. And of course, we know that's not true. All right, let's wrap it up with something funny this week. Harvard student demands you stop making fun of her field of study. What is her field of study? I mean, I can't make any promises until I know that first. A student at Harvard University took to the pages of the student paper, The Crimson, to inform those willing to listen that they need to stop criticizing her concentration choice. Freshman Orly G.S. Marini Rappaport jointly studies history and literature and studies of women, gender, and sexuality. People have opinions about this major, you see. Oh. Well, if she'd stopped at the first two, I wouldn't have said a word. Those are entirely legitimate fields of study and can lead to pretty decent work after college. I mean, realistically, you're probably not going to be a millionaire in those fields, but, you can still make a decent living. It's that last part, though. Yeah, that's the part everyone's making fun of, sweetie. Because it's entirely full of subjective and always fluid bullshit. To be sure, her allergist was a bit rude. You're thinking of majoring in history? What do you want to be, a ski instructor, he asked her? But there have been other subtle slights. Yeah, I'm sure it was the history part they were questioning. I'm already tired of fellow students commenting how lucky I am to be interested in subjects that they assume are easier, less stressful, or supposedly permit grade inflation to a greater extent than other departments. That's not really an assumption, dear, it's a fact. When your chosen field of study is entirely subjective, it is easier, less stressful, and wide open to bullshit grades. I'm already tired of fellow students assuming that courses which are strictly content-based, such as math courses, are inherently superior to those that allow for, or even encourage, the inclusion of personal experience or subjective analysis in the pursuit of constructing more nuanced arguments, as many humanities courses do. Honey, take a moment and read that. Seriously, take your emotion out of the equation and read what you just wrote. You are tired of people saying that facts are harder to learn than making up your own opinions. Do you see why we're laughing now? Okay, that's it for this week. Remember the social justice mantra: women are victims, men are oppressors, and feminism is just about equality. I'll see you all next time.